I'm here today at South Middle School with Mr. Crutchfield, the principal at South, and I just got through reading to some of the sixth graders, and they were very attentive and very in tune to reading, and that's what we want all of our students in Franklin County to be, is in tune to the reading and the importance, understanding the importance of reading and learning how to read at an early age. And these were sixth graders we read to today. However, they were all very interested in what I had to say to them. And it is one of our three major goals of Franklin County, the reading at an early age. We want just to continue to express the interest or the importance of reading at the early age. And Mr. Crutchfield, thank you for allowing me to be here today.
All right, we'd like to thank Mr. Bean for coming and reading to our students. We also would like to wish you a Merry Christmas from the South Middle School family.
Appreciate being here at South Middle School. You guys have a great school here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit and read a story to you. Most of you probably have not had a story read to you in a long time, I bet, have you? I know most of the kids have a story read to them when they're small children, but reading is so important in your education. That's exactly why I'm going around to the schools to read to students, so that you can maybe understand how important reading is going to be for you in your future. Did you know that students in the third grade, they can do a survey and see how well you're reading in the third grade and pretty much determine how well you're going to succeed in life. It's kind of hard to believe that third grade, it's up to the third grade, is so important for the rest of your life. Because if you get behind in your reading skills, it's very difficult to catch up. So hopefully you guys have a good foundation in reading. I know South does a great job in helping you with that, but it's not too late to read. How many of you guys love to read books? That's great. And does it matter what you read? No, it doesn't really matter what you read. Your teachers will give you some books that they'd like you to read, but if you can just continue to read books that you like to read and increase your vocabulary, words that you understand and know by reading, your chances of succeeding all the way through college are greater. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. North, what does that make you think of? What?
North School.
North School, that's right. I knew when I saw that, I said, I'm going to read this story to South, because as soon as I say North, they would associate North Middle School. So I'm going to read that again. Who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch lived in North. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were on too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was two sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchly frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. Everyone in Whoville was having a great time. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled, and with a sneer, tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch, fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would make bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. How many of y'all like noise? You like noise, good. That means you're not the Grinch, right? The Grinch hated the noise of Christmas. He hated all the songs and all the things that went along with it. Then the Who, young and old, would sit down to feast, and then feast, and then feast, and then feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus suit, hat, and a coat. And he chuckled and chuckled. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Santa. You better be paying attention now, okay? All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. He's gonna make Rudolph out of a dog. Our dog into Rudolph. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number one, the old Grinch Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. He's got empty bags, what's he gonna do? Then he slithered and slucked, with his smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates and drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one and up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who's pudding. He took the roast beef. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why? Then Grinch even took their last can of Who's hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. Now he's going to steal the Christmas tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. He heard a small sound like a coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who. Little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been called by his tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas trees? Why? But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie and thought up very quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. Is that what his plan is?
Nope.
No.
And his fib fooled the little child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney and stuffed the tree up. One of these pages get stuck. Just like this tree might get stuck. Then the last thing he took was a log on the fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls, he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was so even small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 past dawn. All the Who's still in bed, all the who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. The Who has got everybody's toys now. He's going out. Have you ever known of a Grinch, anybody that's a Grinch for Christmas that doesn't enjoy Christmas? I have. I've seen people that don't enjoy Christmas. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip top to dump it. Pooh pooh to the Who's, he was Grinchly humming. They're finding out how that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. What a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand on his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook when he saw what a shocking surprise. And the Grinch with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? He came without ribbons, he came without tags, he came without packages, boxes or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed his load through the high, bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef. So what happened? What happened to the Grinch?
When he heard the Who singing, his heart grew 3 sizes bigger because he realizes that Christmas is about presents and things. It's about how everyone cares for each other.
Exactly. Right.
He realized that Christmas isn't all about the presents and like the food. He noticed it was about, being together, and that's why his heart grew normal sized.
Yeah, exactly.
The actual reason for Christmas is because when you hear Christmas, there's Christ in it. So it's about celebrating Jesus' birthday.
Very good.
That's what my mom always.
That's very good. Very good. And do you ever do that? Do you think something sometimes, think that, but then it doesn't turn out to be exactly the way you thought?
Yeah.
You try to do something, and you think, maybe I made a mistake. Or did the Grinch take care of his mistake?
Yes, he brought
Yes.
those things back.
He decided to bring them back. So that's what you have to remember is if, you can make a mistake. The Grinch made a mistake. He thought that everybody just wanted presents. Exactly what y'all just said. But Christmas is much more than just presents. And especially a lot more than just getting presents, right?